No, in terms of the being that you call Yeshua, whom is contemporarily described as Jesus Christ, this being is a very unique being. This being possesses many levels of consciousness. In a certain way, you have the idea of Jesus, the human. In another way, you have what you would consider to be the Christ archetype that picks representatives on earth. And then on a third level, you have a third self, you have Yeshua, whom Jesus becomes through merging with the Christ. So within this character that you call Jesus Christ, you have three expressions of being. Each one is like its own person, its own mind. So you have the human, you have the Christ spirit, and you have the transformed result, that is the merging of the two. So in terms of hybrid children, keep in mind that some hybrids are created through very physical means of genetic alteration and procedure. These types of very deep physical alterations are usually done aboard spacecraft, where the environments are more controlled. They can be more greatly stabilized for those types of physical and intensive procedures on the genetic level. There are other forms of hybridization that can take place that are purely energetic. Imagine a spaceship scanning you with a laser. And imagine that this laser, the photons of light connected to it, are able to communicate with the genetic structure. And different genetic keys in the form of high-frequency photonic light can then be inserted into receptor sites within the genome, unlocking stored information. This is how hybridization can take place in a more subtle way. It's less physical, but the effects can still be incredibly pronounced because you can communicate anything through light. The entire program of the universe as a hologram could be communicated through light to a being. That entire holographic instruction manual that is the fabric of the universe, that could be inserted into your DNA. And your whole body would take on the likeness of that program. So you can communicate anything through light. So even though it might be more subtle, even though it's less physical, it can still be incredibly epic, incredibly sophisticated. So with the being you call Jesus Christ, with Yeshua, there are many things going on that make his situation very unique when compared to hybrids and hybrid children. Because the being that you call Jesus Christ was not just an avatar for higher extraterrestrial consciousness. This being was also an avatar for what you would consider to be the higher angelic consciousness of the throne dimension. So there's many levels of the cosmic hierarchy represented by the individual you call Christ. With hybrid children and with hybrid humans, that's a bit of a different situation. These are upgrades that are genuinely meant to guide your species into a higher level of compassion and into a higher level of understanding and intelligence, gradually over time. So these types of alterations are generally designed to help unlock your natural abilities, and slowly but surely, the alterations help you to maximize the best of what you have to offer within. With the types of activations Christ went through, those were a little different. That was not just to bring out his natural talent. That was to essentially make him indistinguishable from the source consciousness while on Earth. His alterations were much deeper for a very specific purpose. The alterations that are done on humans to help hybridize them, to help make them more sensitive to the new energies and to their star family. These alterations are a little gentler. They're more subtle because You don't need to stand out so much in the same ways Christ did. He had to be a rebel. He had to really shake things up because he was challenging an entire religious governmental status quo. Everyone was locked into the same dogma. In your current times, you're not as oppressed. Things are not as stuck. So the alterations, the upgrades, they can be a little more gentle. You have that freedom, you have that space. Even though you are on a certain type of schedule, there is a certain type of pressure to evolve at a certain pace. Remember, it's not the same type of climate it was back then. So generally speaking, it's a little gentler with the hybridizations taking place for modern Earth humans.